Good afternoon, good evening, whichever it may be, wherever you are. How are you all tonight? Elaine, good morning or good afternoon. It's nice to see you from New York. Linda from New York also is here. Welcome. Maureen from Kansas. Lee from Indiana. At this point, you're the closest one to us, Lee, I think. Yeah, Linda knew that was Ken and not me with the little fish there. I thought that was good, Linda. Thank you. Gina's here from Mount Vernon, Washington. Linda Lombardo. Hi, Linda. Ruth Ellen, Northern Virginia. Yeah, maybe some people are just coming in a little late. Hi, Janice from Massachusetts and Diane from Queensland. He's the kind of emoji king. Oh, Linda's called you an emoji king. Way to go, Ken. Awesome. Evelyn is here from Indiana, and Charlene is here from Colorado. I was trying to say Colorado first. I apologize for that. Diane is here from Alberta. So now we have three continents in here. Awesome. I love it, guys. And there he is, the king of emotions himself tonight. Hi, Eunice from a very hot, probably Arizona. Lois from Delaware. My gosh. Linda from El Paso. Good evening. And Sandy is from Florida, expecting to have a wet few days. I hear you've got a hurricane coming your way. I I hope that you can hunker down and stay safe, Sandy. Oh, Picola from New Mexico, Albuquerque, one of my favorite cities in New Mexico. That's where we used to stay when we drove to Phoenix, right? Albuquerque? We never stayed in Albuquerque. Okay, I got my places. The hot air balloons, that's right. We tried to stay in Albuquerque one time, but we couldn't because every place was full because of hot air balloons. Yes. Judith, another Michigander, welcome. And Nancy from Ohio. And Jana from, I don't know, but she says hello. Anyway, let's get started tonight. I've got quite a few things for you all. We're going to be looking at the Spinifex 7. And the Spinifex 7, like all of our Spinifex, comes with a set of 5 templates. They're right here, from the very small 3.5-inch to the very large 11.5-inch. We're going to stitch each one of these out to show you just how different the sizes are when they're stitched out. And I don't know if you all noticed, but I was happy. I have got the needle channels instead of the gates on my set. Sometimes it pays to wait, I guess. I'm not sure. Anyway, we do also have the Spinifex 7 in the mini sizes. So in all reality, there's 7 sizes instead of 5. So what we can do is you can see with the shape of this template, it can be stitched with this pointy side out or the round side out. And these are the 2 different looks it's going to give with 4 rotations. With 8 rotations, I really like that pointy side out. I really do. And the 16 rotations to me looks kind of like an atom going around and round and round and round. So let's go ahead and let's start by taking a look at these. Judy, hi, welcome. I'm glad you made it. Judy is another Uber. Judy, Judy, Judy. Okay. One of the things that I'm doing tonight is just a little bit different is I am using the 6-point crosshair ruler, but I am using 12 rotations on it. I want to show you how the 6-point works. Okay? Now, the 6-point does not have both the vertical and the horizontal crosshair in it. And I have it right here to show you if my arms are long enough. There it is. Okay, so when you hold it like this, you get either the horizontal, or if you flip it like this, the vertical, right? But when you do 12 rotations on it, here's our first 6, and then we're going to just twist it until these wonderfully etched lines line up with the first 6 reference lines, and we can go ahead and stitch in the rest. Now, it's important if you're only doing 6 rotations to know where they land. When I was practicing this, that is where I was getting mixed up. So what I'm going to suggest and what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to put my block like this, and I am going to number for my 6-point, which is going to be 1, 2. I'm going to do it this way. This is a practice piece. I want you to see these numbers. Okay, how's that? That might be a little better. There's 1. Here's number 2. Here is number 3. And then we're going to go to 4, 5. I'll make sure you can see these. And then 6 will be over here. So if you're doing a 12 point, but you're going to be doing maybe 6 in one direction, 6 in the other, which is what I thought I would do for you tonight, you definitely want to make sure that you have the first 6 labeled so you know exactly where you're going. Or like me, you will end up squirreling into the next county. I don't know where I would end up, to be honest with you. It's so bad, right? Oh, goodness. Brenda, hi. It's so good to see you. Hopefully, your internet does keep working. I hope it does. I hope it does. Bev is here from Ontario. Sandy says she's a bit late. It's okay. You made it. That's what matters. And oh, Sandy does tell us she's from Maine. Very good, very good. I had to learn those abbreviations rather quickly because Maine, Mississippi, Massachusetts, I kept getting those mixed up. I think I've got them now, though. Okay, so what I'm going to do on this one is I'm going to use, yep, I'm going to use the 5.5 and the 7.5 inch. And the reason that I want to use 2 of them is just so you can see the difference when we put one with the outside, the bottom facing out, and one with the top facing out. You know what? Let's do them all the same size. I think that'll be a better illustration. I just gotta change things up as we go along here. I hope you don't mind. Okay, first things first, set that foot. We want that foot to just kiss. Whoops, no, that's a little too close. We want it to just kiss the top of this fabric. And I got that weird batting. This is the last piece of it. Yay, it is gone after tonight. Oh, I'll tell you, that is just the weirdest stuff. Now, with the Spin-Effect 7, you do not need to put stable tape on both sides. Oh, thank you, Judy P. And Janice, I appreciate that. MA is Massachusetts. We got that. So what The reason we don't need to put a stable tape on both sides is because this is a symmetrical template. And if we're going to flip it, we're going to flip it, it's going to look exactly the same. So you can always use it in the same direction. If we flip it upside down, granted, it looks different, but it's still symmetrical. Does that make a lot of sense? Oh, yeah, Janice said, "Well, keep my fingers crossed. It's a pain when the internet adds up just when the design is about to be finished," and that is true. Hi, Pam. Nice to see you. And Kathleen just made it from Maryland. There's another MA state. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to do our first 6 rotations with the bottom of the template at the center. Okay? Now remember, when we are doing spin effects, it is just, I guess, considered easier or better, I don't know which, and I don't know where I learned this, to go across instead of in a circle around because it draws the fabric in more evenly. And let me grab those threads. I wanted to turn it around so that I've got the best view for you to see. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put that needle right down in there. My foot is down, and we're going to start on reference line number 1. This is a very easy and very forgiving template. Very nice to work with. Taking that 1 stitch in place, I'm going to just head off and something is happening here. Okay, you guys are gonna see the worst tonight. I hope this is not an omen of things to come. Let's see why that's happening. I know my bobbin thread is good because I checked it just before I started. There we go. We're gonna get those threads out of there. I'm going to check. And maybe my foot is just a little too high. That 99% of the time is what the problem's going to be if it's skipping stitches like that. And this machine hardly ever has that problem. So let's try it one more time. And yes, guys, these things do happen to us. They happen to everybody. Okay, we'll take that first stitch in place and off we go. And look at that. It certainly was just the foot being a little too high. Just when you think you're doing everything just right, you find out you got to change. And that's okay. Now with spin effects, we can go ahead and cut that center thread off of there because we're going to be going over this many times. And it will definitely, I got off of my template a little bit there, not going to worry. It's practice piece. We're going to be going over enough times that that is definitely going to tie off that center. So there's my number 1. I'm going to go directly across, and this will be my number 4, because remember, we're working with 6 reference lines instead of, well, look at here, it's skipping again. I think it's this wonky batting, to be honest with you. Okay, we're going to try and get that down there. There, that seems to have resolved it. And now, sadly, we're snow plowing, but that's okay. I'm just gonna keep on going here. It's a practice piece. It's not the end of the world. Okay, so now I'm going to come over to number 5, and I'm going to do that next. And you'll see that how nice and gentle that transition is. It's very easy to do. The tip of the template is just a beautiful oval shaped. If you were just to do half of the template, the top half, you would have a beautiful half of an oval there. There we go, back to the center. And you know what? I want to check one more thing. I may have my feed dogs up. Hey guys, I got my feed dogs up. That's why it's doing that. Okay, there we go. I was putting on a binding earlier. Oh, now I have to adjust my foot again, yes. But that's okay. Now I know what the problem is. There we go. Now we should be good. This machine, bless its heart, has never failed me yet. It's usually, I would say 99.9% of the time, it's operator failure, not machine failure. Okay, there we go again, that nice round curve. And you see how I keep my stitches smaller when I'm doing circles or arcs. Okay, so that was number 2. I'm gonna go to number 3 next. And off we go again. Boy, this works so much better without those feedbacks. Ah, and around we go. We've got one more rotation to do, and then we're going to flip this template. Now, normally, I'm going to be honest with you, I would not be spinning this block this often. I am doing this because I want you to be able to see clearly what I'm doing. Okay? It is important to learn to stitch in all directions. And I think that I may have mentioned that once or 100 times. I'm not sure. Oh, who knows? Who knows? Deborah here from Maryland. Good afternoon. And Carol from Missouri. And Carla's here from Oklahoma. And evenings of storms. And they are hoping for some rain in Oklahoma City. Patsy, hi from New Mexico. So nice to see you. Okay, we're going to go back and get that last one put in here. I have one thing that I'm really, really looking forward to showing you guys with this template. So want to make sure to keep going so we get to it. You could see how that fabric is plowing a little bit. In some places it's plowing, and others it's way above. Like I said, last piece of batting. I just didn't have the heart to throw the whole thing away. Okay, nice needle channel. Now I'm going to flip this. Okay, I'm going to put this center in the middle this time. And I am going to go out to the pointy side. And I just think this is a pretty design. It's nothing really overly special about it, but sometimes it's nice just to do something for a change. And this is a pretty nice change of pace, I think. And I love the secondary designs that come out of this too. It is so awesome. Okay, now what am I stuck on? There we go. Okay. We're gonna reset that foot one more time, guys. Okay, we're gonna go around. And the reason that we really want you to be able to stitch these in any orientation is so when you have a quilt under your machine, you don't have to turn it for each rotation, and that is important. Now this has, I think we measured it once, it's like a 7-inch throat or something on this machine. It's rather small, 7 or 7.5 inch. And I actually did do a queen size quilt on this machine. The key to that was puddling my fabric all the way around and being able to get the whole rotation without moving the quilt. All I did was reorient the templates, and it worked beautifully. It really did. I would not be afraid to do another one. I don't know as I really want to do another one that big on a small machine, but I know it can be done. Okay, now we're gonna go across, and then we'll have 2 more to do. And off we go. This is the pointy side, or what I call the bottom. I like to call the bottom because that's the one that most likely will be found in the center. Okay, and we've got 2 more rotations. Are you guys liking this, or what do you think? I'd love to hear from you. Of course, I guess it might be kind of hard for you all to see it. Linda likes it. Good deal. And one more, and then we've got this one done. By the way, it is green and gold, our Packer colors, and those are the colors of my practice, my practice squares. Okay. I didn't see Di Warner in here tonight. Di asked when I said on my Facebook page, "Go Pack Go," she said, "Where are you going?" Those of you who are Packer fans know what that means. But what I told her, I said, "We're going to get the ball and go to the end zone for a touchdown. And then we're going to go to the Super Bowl," Ken says. That would be nice. I hope we make it this year. Okay, so here we go. I think it's really interesting. It's a very unique blog, but I really think it's interesting and I like it. Looks like most of you are approve of this too. Joyce is here from California. Awesome. Good. I'm glad you guys like it. Now what I want to do is not what I had planned, but I think that this is important. Um, I'm going to show you the other thing we're going to do shortly. But what I want to do here, I don't normally do this. And I was thinking of it today and I thought, this actually I think is a good exercise. And I think it's a good exercise for all of us because what it will help us do is have kind of a gauge or a guide. We can draw this out and it would work just fine as well. But what if we were to stitch it out? We creative change-ups. Yes, that's what we're doing here too. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pull my thread up. Also, you can see I've just got a straight line, a big long horizontal line, and then I've got vertical lines. And they're probably not even straight. It doesn't matter. Oops. It's just what I want to see is how big each one of my templates stitches out. And to put a sample like this in with your templates, I keep mine in a file folder. So putting a sample like this in the file folder with the templates really can help when you're trying to decide on what you want to place on your quilt or how you want to place it. So we'll take that first stitch there. And we got some real problems with this tonight, don't we? Okay. Now I'm gonna just kind of go up and see. Yeah, it's gonna keep causing me issues. That's okay. All right, so there's my 3.5 inch. And now I'm just gonna go ahead and stitch on over. It doesn't have to be pretty. And you can see it's not even stitching. And that is because no, there's bobbin thread in it. It's because now the foot is too high with that goofy batting that I've got. So here is the 5.5 inch. Readjust the foot, put it in. I know my feed dogs are down. Okay, here we go. Let's hope this time it's good. And sure enough, look at how beautiful it's stitching. Okay, guys, I got an issue here. What is going on? It's bunching up on me and it's not letting me do anything. Okay, so we're going to just start this one over again, see if we can do that. We'll come back up and do it again. If at first you don't succeed, Ken said quit. I don't know if any of you heard him. Hi, Dee Dee. Okay, we're getting tested by fire here tonight, but that's okay. Okay, we can get some of this extra thread out of the way here. Lord knows I got enough of it. There we go. There. Okay, we're going to try this again. I'm going to go the other way this time, see what happens. Now it's working beautiful. Let's keep it that way. I'm going to have two sets of stitching over here. That's okay. Something right here is catching. I'm not sure what's going on here. What's right here is catching and I'm not sure why. Okay, so that's okay. We got that one pretty much done. I'm just going to go ahead and trim this off. We may not get through this, guys. I wonder if it isn't this thread. We'll persevere. We'll just keep on moving forward, okay? There we go. So that is the 5.5. Now I'm going to find my 7.5. Okay, and that's going to be the next line that I put on here. Now, I'm going to be honest with you guys. I've never done this before, okay, with my templates. I've drawn them out, but not in a sequence of sizes. And as I was looking at these today, it just hit me like a ton of bricks. I should be able to visualize them by having them either stitched out or drawn out. Personally, I think the stitched out is a better idea. If you got good batting, it's the best idea. Okay, there we go. And when we're talking about batting, Most of us use an 80-20 mix, 80% cotton, 20% polyester. And for most of us, that does very well. But there's other paddings that I think people should try at least once. My preference is all of them. I I know it's a serious question. That is a serious answer. If I'm going to do, and I'm going to explain that, okay? If I'm going to do a wall hanging, for example, I will use an 80-20 and a layer of wool. And the reason for that is the 80-20 will help keep the wall hanging flat. It'll help keep it stiff. And the wool will give it an absolutely gorgeous loft. It'll look just beautiful. Now, if I want to do a summer quilt, this is going to sound totally backwards, guys. If I want to do a summer quilt, I use wool. You would think wool would be heavier. Wool will keep you warmer in the winter, but it also will keep you cooler in the summer. I didn't believe that at first, but it works. Ken said it's an old lumberjack trick. And the place that I got that information from was my grandmother. And she always put the wool lined quilts on the bed during the summer. Like I said, I always thought it was backwards, but it does work. So for that, I like wool. I really do for a summer quilt. I like for kids' quilts that are going to be washed a lot and they're going to be loved to death. I call them loved to death. Go ahead, and if that's a quilt that's going to be a floor quilt and it's going to probably end up in pieces, go ahead and get some polyester. Just make sure that you have the quilting in the rating that the batting suggests. What I mean by that, if you were to use, for example, a Thermore batting, Thermore is a polyester batting, but it is paper thin, and you can go a whole 10 inches between stitching lines and the quilt will stay stable. Most 80-20 is going to be between 3.5 and 4 inches to stay stable. Okay, Carla has a question. And the sizes of the templates for using the pin are the sizes on the templates for using the pin or not using pin? Good question, Carla. Very good question. They are for not using the pin. Okay, let me show you. This was the 3.5, 5.5, 7.5. So we're going to pick on the 7.5. Okay, 7.5 divided by 2 is 3 3/4. From here to here is 3 3/4. So yes, the sizes are without the pin being used. Okay, does that help? Cotton, Dee Dee, yeah. Cotton is really nice too. It really is. And where I like cotton is where I want to drape. I know a lot of women now are making quilted coats. I see them everywhere. And my thought process is cotton batting, I think would be perfect for those because it's soft and it drapes beautifully. So when I say they're all my favorite, it depends on what I'm making. And that's how I determine which one is going to work. There we go. I knew that I was having trouble getting that bottom thread up. You have to cut it first. Okay, down we're gonna go. And there's our bobbin thread. Let's pull that up. The other thing that I want to encourage you to do when you're working with Spinifex, and this is where I started with using multiple templates to come up with a design. And it was with Spinifex templates and my starter set. There are so many cool things you could do. Say, put the point on the outside and join them together with a 4-inch arc and, just keep going around and around in circles with different designs and different templates. They are beautiful. They really are. There's so much you can do. Now, this is our largest at 11.5 inches. And remember, 11.5 inches is from the tip of one template turned around and stitched on a rotation opposite and to the tip of that. So our individual templates are 1/2 of the finished size. So this is going to be 5 3/4 inches from here to here. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to haul this out here. And there we go. There we go. So now we have an array of sizes. I'm going to back you up so you can see them all. Look at I mean, just with one set of templates, how much we can do. Now, when we think of using Spinifex templates, what we think of is circles. We normally always use them in a circular pattern. And what I mean by that is we usually go like this, larger, smaller, but circular. I'm going to show you tonight how to do a square with Spinifex templates, and it's going to fit in a square design. Okay? Okay. Dee Dee says, I'm glad I'm not the only one that makes bonehead things. You do, eh? Well, we're in good company anyway. Uh, yeah, Judy P. Now, Judy lives up here in the UP with us. We have a very diverse climate. We go from 80s with 90% humidity in the summer down to -10 in the winter. And we like our quilts. We like to keep them all year round. Dee Dee, you're right. Put a basket on the bottom and they do look like hot air balloons. There we go. Back to Albuquerque. Okay. Now this is going to be a fun one. I really, I don't know why I came up with this idea, but I just did. Because Ken says I ain't right. He might be right. This is the way that I play. This is how I come up with things. This is 16 rotations or I'm sorry, this is 12 rotations instead of 16. It's a little more open if you want a little lighter look. The fewer rotations you put, the lighter it's going to feel. Okay. Now, this is the one I've been waiting for. I'm going to show you how to turn a Spinifex into a square. And this is how we're going to do it. We're going to start with 8 reference lines. And don't pay attention to these because we don't need them. And we need 2 different size templates. And I'm going to use the 5.5 and the 7.5. I'll take that back. I need 3 because I'm going to use the 3.5 as well. Okay. So where we want I'll put about Spinifex, this big bale left. Okay. Oh, hi, Mary. It's been a long time since I've seen you. So nice to have you here. Dee Dee says, my complaint about the Spinifex is the big ball left at the rotation point. Okay, yeah. I know that hi, Di Warner, you made it. Um, I know that can be a concern. And what I like to do is I like to I'll start in that very center point, okay? But then sometimes what I'll do is I'll stay like a half a stitch away and just go to the left or to the right where I need to, and that helps to keep that ball a little smaller. Now, another thing you can do is, you can use your steam iron, steam it real good, and take your clapper, your tailor's clapper, and push down on it and hold it for a few seconds until it cools a little bit. That will keep it nice and flat for when you put it together. It doesn't help so much when you're doing the actual stitching of it, but later on it will help. The other thing you can do is steam it again and use a mallet. My husband found my mallet up here and he thought it was for him, but it really was for seams. But I didn't tell him that, of course. I figured let him think. I'm you know, I've got myself protected with my mallet. No, it really does help. Keeping it a little bit away from that center helps to keep the big ball on the inside. It's been my nemesis to everybody's. Yeah, Ken said everybody's gotta be Dee Dee, gotta be. Yeah, you know what? You know it's too much when you put your needle in and the whole fabric comes up. It's like, okay, that's all I need. Okay, so why am I using 2 sizes? This size is gonna be very apparent here in a minute. Because I wanna make a square out of this instead of circular. So in order to do that, what I want is I want my 4 corners to be longer than my horizontal and vertical lines. So I'm going to go ahead and I am going to put in, and I'm gonna push you guys up just a little bit. Okay, there we go. And grab that thread and bring it up. There it is. Okay. Now, I am going to use the round side out on my 4 main lines, the vertical and horizontal lines. Okay, take that 1 stitch in place, move it on out. I'm gonna try and show you what I'm talking about when I say not coming back to the center. And I really do think too that make sure my needle is down. Getting this center thread out of here as soon as possible does help too. Okay, so there it is. Now it is gone. And we're going to come back. Right now we're good, right? We've only been there 2 times. I'm going to leave my fabric unturned and show you what I'd like to see you do too, to learn how to stitch evenly and expertly in any orientation on your quilts. This is just good practice. Okay, right now we're still good. We only have a few stitches in that center. Now I'm going to go to the horizontal. And around, we don't have to stop at that center this time because this is not a pointy template. Here we go. Now it's starting to get a little filled up there, but it's still very workable. Lining, whoops, I need to line that up better. Okay, double check. Always try and double check as I'm heading out of the center. And I will tell you one thing also. When I have the cameras in front of me like I do, I'm not looking at this straight down like I should be. It is a little more difficult for me to see if I'm right on my lines or not. Because if you sit back and you put where you think your line is here, and then you bring it around, whoops, here, you're going to see just how far off I am. So you want to be almost over the top of those lines. Okay, so now I'm going to take my 7.5 inch. This one I'm going to start with the top of the template in the center. And we're going to come around. Now you'll see that you'll probably notice I have my um, stable tape in a different area on this template than I do on these. These templates I can easily hold here. This is kind of pushing it for the size of my hands. This is going to give me a better control and grip over that template as I'm stitching it out. And that comes with practice. You will learn where exactly you want those pieces of stable tape to be. I love our new stable dots. They really help with, with the vision. Okay, back in the center. Not too bad yet, Dee Dee. Okay, so here we go. And this is going to be the 6th rotation. I'm only doing 8 on this one. Want to take that extra stitch at the top this way because we do have that pointy part facing the outside. Okay, so when I just put that needle down, what I did is I put it just off, just a hair off on this side. And the reason that I did that is so that I could miss all that bulk of all those stitches in there. It's never going to show out here. You're never going to notice it. Okay. Let's go ahead. Now, if you look there, you can see I'm just off a little bit. Let's bring it in a little closer. Okay. I'm just off a little bit right here. But if I don't point that out, if I didn't point that out, you would never notice that. And it does help keep it nice and flat. Okay. Thank you, Dee Dee. It does help. These are things that we learn as we go along. And I want to let you guys know, and I know I say this every Tuesday and every Wednesday, this is what works for me. If it doesn't work for you and you have a different way that works for you, that's fine. Go right ahead and use it. I will never say my way is the only way unless I'm talking to my husband, okay? So I guess he probably heard that, didn't he? So anyway, now just whatever you are most comfortable with is the way that you should do this. Okay, so here's my 8th rotation, and I really do like how this one turned out. The other thing is to have a nice sharp needle. I know a lot of us use 9014 top stitch needles, and those are the best. They really are because they're pointier. Their tip is a little pointier than a universal needle. And when you're working with cotton, it's fine to use that. Okay, so now I'm back in the center. We're gonna go ahead and we're gonna take this out. Isn't that cool? Now you can see when I talk about squareness, I have. I'm not a fan. I just have never had real good luck with them. I don't know if it's my machine or the way I stitch, but, mm, you know, it just didn't work real well for me. Linda said, from a sort of plain shape template, this design's really very pretty. Well, thank you, Linda. Exotic flower is a good description. And it is, isn't it cool? But what I like about it is it's square. We have now made a square out of a round or a round template. What type of thread is my go-to? Oh, good question. My go-to is Wonderfill threads. I love confetti. It's 70 weight. I think it's 70, 60 or 70. Is there confetti, which I absolutely love. And they have a spaghetti, which is a 12 weight, which is great if you want to do some really extra special work. I love Wonderfill. I like King Tut too. I really do. It's what works in my machine best. Now, I know some people have like Isacord from embroidery. That's what I like. Metler works good. Okay. But my go-to thread dye is Wonderfill's confetti. That is my go-to. Dee Dee asks, what if you used a longer template on the edges and the centers? If you use the longer template on both, you're going to end up with a circular design. Unless, of course, unless, of course, you mean rather than use a 5.5 and a 7.5, use a 7.5 and a 9.5 would then give you a larger square to work with. Does that answer the question? Oh, over what I just did? We'll try it. Okay. Let me just show you. Oh, hi, Kathy. Oh, dinner with the cousins. I think that's great. It's where you're excused for missing for that, Kathy. Okay. Um, Now, Dee Dee, are you talking about flipping them back over or keeping them in the same orientation? That's another thing we have to think about. I'm going to quickly show you one of these corners. Now, what I'm going to do is I am going to line up. I think you can see the corner in here pretty well, but we'll just double check it. There we go. I want to make sure you guys got a good view of this. I love the chalk, but sometimes it does tend to wear off a little bit when we're stitching. That's okay. We can just put in put them in again. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come to the corner and I'm going to put my foot down. I'm going to put my needle on that corner, but I'm not going to draw my thread up here. Okay. Now I'm going to lift my needle and I'm not going to move my template, But what I'm going to do is draw my thread up at the top of the template. I am only going to stitch half of this template because remember, this is a square block. So this is my seam line. Okay, so down it goes. I'm going to put my foot down and my needle in. I'm going to make sure I'm lined up and I'm going to stitch to the corner. And we're going to stop right in the corner. Now I'm going to twist my template and I want to get my thread out of here. I got a thing against thread being in my way. I'm going to line my template up with the diagonal line of my design. Okay, make sure you can see that. So now I'm going to do an entire rotation all the way around and stop again in the corner. Now I'm going to turn that template one more time along the next seam line and I'm going to stitch a half a rotation ending up in that seam line. Okay, now we can pull that out and there's our corner treatment. So what we've done in essence is we've not only made it square because of the design that we used here, but we put this little corner treatment in there just to kind of fill it up, so to speak. Okay, so Dee Dee says either or, flip the rotation would look nice. Okay, let's go ahead and give it a try. So what you're saying though is we need bigger sizes. So if we flip the rotation here, that means we want the larger or the bottom to go out. So let's give it a shot, okay? I love this when you guys come up with ideas because there's nothing more fun than trying something new. Eh, speaking of which, we tried something new for dinner tonight. No sugar ice cream. I actually made sugarless ice cream. And you know what? It wasn't half bad. I mean, it wasn't ice cream the way we love it, but it was okay. Okay, so here we go. The larger size. And this is going to be on our vertical and horizontal crosshairs or reference lines. Oh, I like how it frames this. There we go. I'm going to come here and do this one next. Okay, line it up. And do another rotation. It envelops the entire motif within this rotation. Isn't that cool? All right. I like that. That is a really pretty design right there. Okay, let's do another one. I know I'm not going in the right order, but it's okay. We're just playing anyway, right? Okay. Now, I know I've talked about this before too. When you get a pattern or you're deciding on what templates you're going to get, And you may have a pattern that calls for a spin effect 7, for example. And of course, what you think is, well, do I buy the whole set? Do I just get the template I need and then I can get other templates? How should that work? My preference, okay? Again, this is my preference only. It doesn't need to be yours, but what I have found over the years is I always buy the set. And the reason that I buy the set is inevitably down the road, I'm going to need different sizes for another project. So it's easier to do a design like this that we're working on right now if you have the whole set. I obviously could not do this if I only had those 3 templates. Okay, so there is, oh, you guys, this is turning out just lovely. Okay, so now I need the 9.5 inch and we're going to put it on this way. I will not put it on that one simply because I've already got that edge, that little piece of edge design on there. So by having the whole set, it allows us, it really affords us a whole lot more latitude when we're making designs to put on our quilts. And it's less money in the long run. I should add that in. This, I could see some really beautiful template opportunities with this design. Okay, so you see, there's my center. I'm not going right into that center. I'm just going about a stitch away from it, and then I'm going to come over to the next rotation. And that's how I keep that bulk of all that thread down a bit. And there we go. Line my template up. There we go. Beautiful curve. This has got to be one of the easiest curves to do. And back down, we're going to do one more. Yes, Ken needs to pick one for next week. The basket is over there. I forgot to pull the basket out for him. Okay, and let's get this one in. Oof, I should have backed you guys up. I'm sorry. There we go. And this is the last one. I am really, really loving this. And there, I'm right back in the center. And now we're going to go ahead and we're going to clip those threads off. I do not bother tying threads when I'm practicing. I would rather have my time to stitch. And there it is. What do you guys think? I think it turned out gorgeous. I really, really love it. Ooh. Oops, there we go. What do you think? Like it? Okay, let's see where we're. Hi, Nilda, Colorado Springs. Anna's here from Oregon. Thank you, Jana. If you price the individual, are you likely to get a few for free? You are likely to get, yeah, you know. Just that's very true. That's very true. So, yeah, I don't have that last one there because I put this in here, and you still could put a smaller one in here if you wanted to, a different one. But, yeah, I like it. Dee Dee, good job. Was it you who asked? I'm sorry, I think it was. I'm not sure. Elaine likes it too. Carla likes it. Okay, let's, do, do, do. Yep, it was Dee Dee. I just wanted to look back. Oh, Mary, thank you so much. Mary came to visit my quilt shop a few times, and she said she wished she could come back to it. And yeah, it just had to be, Mary. It just had to be. So, um, nice. This is what I have for you tonight. This is our Spinifex 7. I know it's not a real popular one, but it's one that I enjoy. I'm really glad that I have it. I like what can be done with it. There's the 11 and a half, the 9 and a half, 7 and a half. Let's see, there's my 5 and a half and my 3 and a half. And this is how they look all stitched out. Let's pull you up so you can see the whole thing. Oh, goodness. I know I can do this. I've done it before. There we go. Okay. I don't have a professional camera set up here. I wish I did. Okay. Well, thank you, Linda. I really appreciate it. Nilda has a question. She has the Fun and Fancy collection. Which crosshair template is for the kit? That, Nilda, I would have to look up. I would, let me see if I can put my hands on that quickly, okay? Okay. I'm afraid I can't get my hands on it real quickly. Nilda, if you go into Westerly by me and ask that question, I will look it up for you, okay? Be happy to do that. Thank you, Linda. Lee, I appreciate it. Ice cream cones. Oh yeah, I'm right there with you anytime. So Ken pulled next week. It is going to be Circles on Quilts, Spinning Wave number 6. So that'll be very interesting to see what we can do with that. Oh, you're welcome, Nilda. Not a problem. I really appreciate y'all being here tonight. I want to thank you so much. It means a lot for me to have my friends here with me and my husband here with me too. It's always good. And of course, don't forget the hooligans are here with us as well. Uh, Dee Dee, draw it out on paper with different crosshairs to decide what you like. There's a lot to be said for that. We have a lot of different crosshair rulers available to us, and I really want to get to the one that it swirls, the swirl crosshair. I want to do some things with that too. The 8 point is large. Yes, it is. And I'm glad you got here tonight too, Dee Dee. Um, oh, I'm sorry you'll miss me in the morning, but you can always watch it over. Remember, these are recorded. So anyway, as I was saying, I appreciate you being here. Don't forget, like, subscribe, share, and all of that stuff. And I will be here again tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. Central Time. Okay. And tomorrow we're going to take a look at the hearts templates. So until we meet again, let's quilt.